Hello everyone, it is eVill, welcome back to my channel. Today we are taking a comprehensive look at the Utahraptor. Utahraptors are the largest of all known dromaeosaurids that are also popularly called raptors. And they became famous worldwide after Jurassic Park happened to make animals very similar to them. The velociraptors in Jurassic Park are in reality not based on the Utahraptor. Instead, they represent Deinonychus that were renamed to velociraptors because the filmmakers thought that the name sounded cooler, and that is why they are called velociraptors. The movie Velociraptors were stated to be 2.7 meters long, and while the Deinonychus is longer than that, it was not that bulky, meaning that the animal that the movie Velociraptors represent was not known to exist. And that is where the Utahraptor comes in. Fortunately for Dromaeosaurus fans, the Utahraptor doesn't disappoint. It is actually even larger than the Velociraptors in the movies, growing to an estimated 5 to 6 meters long, 2.1 meters tall, and 250 to 350 kilograms. It was comfortably bigger than the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park, and would have been one of the largest carnivores when it lived 135 million years ago. The largest estimates for Utahraptors actually place them at 7 meters long and 450 kilograms, but most scientists agree that the 5 to 6 meters and 350 kilograms is a more realistic weight for the average size of these animals. And that is not to say that Utahraptors couldn't have reached 7 meters in length. The fossil record is not perfect, and the chances of an exceptionally large Utahraptor, I mean not even like that super large, right, it's like 15% larger than the ones we know of, the chance of that being preserved is very low. And besides that, there are only a few fossils of them in total. Even at 350 kilograms, that would have made Utahraptors the third largest land carnivore alive today, right now. Only behind the average weight of the polar bear and the absolute largest subspecies of brown bears. While at 450 kilograms, they would have solidly entered the polar bear territory. These animals were fucking huge. Besides their size, there's obviously unique traits to the Utahraptor, and one striking peculiarity to me is the lower jaw. It curves downward in a way that makes the skeleton look a little bit derpy to me, and there are also these reconstructions of it that look very funny. It is actually not like that surprising, because if you look at the upper jaw, it also has the downward stern, so it isn't quite as obvious if you imagine the skin and muscles on them. So these reconstructions might be exaggerating a little bit. The reason for this adaptation is probably to help them pull on flesh a little bit better when they are eating carrion or something that they just killed, but who knows really, it's not like we actually know about that. It might have something to do with their stockier build. Unlike other dromaeosaurs, Utahraptor wasn't adapted as a pursuit predator, and instead it would have ambushed its prey and overpowered it. Of course, it would still be comfortably fast enough to run down a human, but probably not the smaller dinosaurs in their area. Because of their heavy build and short legs, they were ideally built for fighting, and their claws on their hands are specialized in cutting, so their lifestyle can be basically assumed from that. Utahraptors would use their large sickle-like claws like the average gentleman on the London streets, and they would also be clawing with their little hands as well, which weren't little by the way, I'm just having that image in my mind about dinosaurs, but it's not the case here. And then they would be keeping the other foot on the ground, so basically they would be clawing with their hands and one foot, and then the other one would be supporting their weight and making sure they don't fall and get injured and stuff. And it's actually a little bit funny, because this is how I imagined these dinosaurs would hunt when I was little, so it's kind of satisfying to see that scientists also think that this is the way that they would hunt. And this isn't really relevant, but the largest fossilized Utahraptor claw was 24 centimeters long, so it would be comfortably thick enough to go right through my body and out the other end. So it's no joke at all, it's fucking giant. And of course, since feathers are very common among dromaeosaurs, the Utahraptor is predicted to also have had them, even though we are yet to find a Utahraptor fossil with them preserved. Basically, the reasoning for this is that there's no reason to assume that they wouldn't have them. After all, dromaeosaurs are the closest dinosaur relatives to birds, and all ancestral birds obviously had feathers, it's kind of obvious. Of course, this could be proven wrong, but it is very safe to assume that they had them. The environment where Utahraptor lived was a mix of floodplains, similar to Florida, and open forests, and to be specific, coniferous forests, because the leafy plants hadn't become very common yet, or hadn't evolved, I'm not sure. Confirm in the comments how this goes actually. But anyway, the coniferous forests were there, and they are actually really accurately represented in this picture over here. The climate was way hotter than it is today, and the environment would have been extremely hot and arid. So this would have been an environment that doesn't really exist in our world right now. It is basically gone. Of course, the Utahraptor would have lived elsewhere on the continent. These floodplains are just overrepresented in the fossil record because fossilizing is easier there. Besides, there could also be other species of them, other species of Utahraptor, because keep in mind this is a genus and not a species. We haven't found their closer relatives yet, and I mean we know for a fact that they evolved from something, so there must be something else, and that is a mystery we will hopefully solve in the future. Utahraptors would have specialized in hunting large dinosaurs around where it lived, and would likely employ a pack hunting strategy, allowing them to take down even the largest creatures where they lived, at around modern day Utah, if you couldn't guess from the name of this dinosaur. The other animals from this formation that would have likely been Utahraptor prey are over here in order. Firstly, Gastonia, an average-sized ankylosaurian that weighed around 2 tons and grew to about 5 meters long. These are known to have been pretty common because we have many fossils of them, at least around the places where they could preserve anyway. So. After that, Cedarosaurus, a brachiosaurian that was 15 meters long and weighed around 11 tons. Probably too big for a singular Utahraptor, but assuming they hunted in packs, I can see this being possible. Moabosaurus, another sauropod estimated at around 10 meters long, notable for having an extremely small brain, and because of its smaller size this is likely one of the prey items that caused the Utahraptor to grow so big. Hippodraco, a small iguanodontian that was about 5 meters long and weighed around 450 kilograms, so about the exact same size as the Utahraptor. However, the fossil that we know them from was a juvenile, so it is fair to assume that this species could grow comfortably bigger than this, maybe even up to a ton or more. Finally, Cedrorestes, another small iguanodontian, estimated at around 5.5 meters. They are known only from one fragmentary skeleton, so I cannot really give you much more info on that. Since none of these prey items are that big considering the groups that they represent, it is possible that Utahraptor would have hunted them all, especially if the Utahraptor employed pack hunting. The reason why I think it is possible that the Utahraptors employed pack hunting is because of a fossil that we have found. It is of a dinosaur stuck in quicksand, surrounded by Utahraptors that came to eat it, and it is possible that they were hunting in a pack, or that they independently made the same mistake over and over again. But considering the Utahraptors that gathered around the dinosaur ranged from 1 meter juveniles to fully grown adults, it seems very likely to me that this would have been a pack with a structure made up of like parents and children and grandchildren or something like that. Basically like a little family unit or something. And by the way, I just want to mention how cool that fossil is. I want to know more of these fossils with like multiple animals scattering around, because imagine the wealth of scientific knowledge that you can get from analyzing this. You know, and that is why this block has been studied for 20 years now, so it is no joke. By the way, the Deinonychus that was represented in the Jurassic Park movie and the Velociraptor are both very likely to have been solitary hunters, so if that ruined your fantasy about Jurassic Park, I don't know, but just imagine the Utahraptor in their place and hope that they turn out to be pack hunters, because you know it's possible. But Utahraptors are one of my favorite dinosaurs, and that is about all I wanted to tell you today. If you have some more interesting facts about them, write them to me in the comments below. I actually really hope that there has been a discovery that makes parts of my video outdated. I mean, that could basically be the best possible surprise a man could ask for when you're talking about fossils and stuff. Maybe you would enjoy the video on the platypus or the top 20 largest predators alive today. Bye bye.